Okay, so you want to run a trading business in the Aztec Empire. Canoes gliding into Tlatelolco stacked with cacao and quetzal feathers. 60,000 people shouting prices in a market, so big, the conquistadors said it was twice the size of Seville. Jade and jaguar pelts changing hands before sunrise. Except, here's the real rule this economy ran on. There is no coin. Not a copper one, not a gold one, not anywhere in the largest city in the Americas. You are about to run a business inside an empire that moved more wealth than most of Europe, and not one piece of it will ever clink in your pocket. So how does the biggest market on the continent run without a single coin changing hands? Every rabbit, every cloak, every debt owed between neighbors still needs a number attached to it. Somebody built that number system before you ever showed up, and you're about to step directly inside it. You are picturing two farmers, trading a chicken for a basket of maize, face to face, haggling over what feels fair in the moment. That business barely exists here. The Aztecs ran something closer to a fully priced economy, fixed units of account, standardized denominations, even counterfeiting laws. They just built it without metal. Cacao, beans are your smallest currency, and not as a metaphor, an actual, spendable unit. A rabbit runs around 30 beans, a tomato costs 1, and a porter for a full day's work costs about 100. Because a bean is a bean, and a bean is easy to fake. Nahua law had a name for people who counted out fraudulent shells stuffed with dirt or wax and passed them off in the market. Thieves. The market judge's official officers, stationed inside Tlatelolco itself, walking the aisles, could have you dragged out and beaten on the spot for it. Above cacao sits your mid-tier currency, quachli, standardized cotton cloaks, woven to a fixed size and quality so that one cloak equals roughly 65 to 300 cacao beans, depending on the grade. You don't wear these. You stack them like bricks of value in your storeroom, and when a purchase gets big enough, you start counting in cloaks instead of beans. The same reflex a modern shopkeeper has switching from coins to bills. And above that, for the genuinely wealthy transactions, gold dust carried in the hollow quills of goose feathers, each quill a sealed, pre-measured amount, so nobody has to weigh anything mid-negotiation. 3 separate currencies, 3 separate tiers, and every single one of them is something you could also eat, wear, or plant. That's not an accident of a society that hadn't invented money yet. That's a currency system, built entirely out of things too useful to hoard uselessly. Before you spend a single cacao bean, understand the shape of the market you're stepping into, because the state is standing in it with you. Sitting apart from the ordinary sellers, occupying their own section of Tlatelolco, are the Pochteca, the long-distance merchant guild, and the rules for them don't apply to you at all. Armed caravans carry them hundreds of miles into hostile territory, trading under formal diplomatic protection, and sometimes doubling as the Empire's intelligence service, mapping enemy towns between transactions. They answer to their own guild court, marry within their own ranks, and worship their own patron god. You are not competing with the Pochteca. You are operating in the market stalls they've left for everyone else. Now let's actually build your stall. Say you're a Tianguis trader in Tenochtitlan in the early 1500 seconds, dealing in cotton textiles. Your first cost is raw cotton, and you're not growing it yourself. The valley's too high and cold. You're buying it hauled in from the hot lowlands, through a tribute and trade network that funnels goods toward the capital from hundreds of miles out. Your stall has a fixed spot, handed out by ward officials, and if you set up in the wrong section selling the wrong goods, market judges can fine you, or worse, on the spot, in front of everyone. Then there is your competition, because the market isn't a free-for-all, it's a scheduled event. Every 5th day the Tianguis rotates between towns, and Tlatelolco's massive daily market draws sellers from the whole valley. Miss your rotation and your buyers simply aren't there. And here's where it gets personal. Say your stall does well, genuinely well, cloak currency well. You still cannot dress like it. Sumptuary law in the Aztec world is savage and specific. Cotton clothing, certain feather ornaments, certain sandal styles, certain jewelry, all of it legally reserved for nobility and warriors who've taken captives in battle. A wealthy commoner caught wearing a noble's cloak isn't fined. Historical accounts describe execution as the penalty for a commoner dressing above his station. You can get rich in this economy. You are not legally allowed to look rich. This isn't a hidden tax. It's an entire category of your own success, walled off from you by what you're legally permitted to wear on your own back. So what happens when the tribute system, this whole thing, runs on brakes? Because underneath every market stall sits the real machine over 400 subject towns, each one assigned a fixed tribute quota: so many cloaks, so much cacao, so many warrior costumes, feathers, jade, rubber, delivered on a schedule to Tenochtitlan, whether the harvest was good that year or not. The tribute lists survive. The Codex Mendoza spells out, town by town, exactly what came due. This is the actual engine funding the empire, and your little cotton stall sits downstream of a river that starts in tribute, towns you will never visit. Break a rule in this system and the punishment is public and physical: a beating in the market square, goods confiscated, standing stripped away in front of the same buyers you need again tomorrow. Break the system itself, and the consequences run continental. In 1519, that's exactly what happened. Hernán Cortés lands, and within 2 years the empire that ran the largest market in the hemisphere is gone. The Spanish don't understand cacao beans or quachly cloaks as currency to them. It looks like nothing, like a civilization that never figured out real money. So they don't loot the market stalls. They go straight for the actual metal, the gold and silver. The Aztecs had always treated as raw material for ornament, not as currency at all, and melt it down into bars for shipping home. The tribute network itself, that 400-town machine already built, already running, already collecting goods on schedule from a huge territory, gets seized whole and repointed towards Spain within a generation. Repackaged as the encomienda system. Read that again. The most efficient way anyone found to extract wealth from this economy wasn't to master cacao trading or learn the tianguis rotation. It was to walk in, misread the currency as worthless, and steal the machine that was already collecting for someone else. Could you have gotten rich running a stall in the Aztec market? Yes. If you understood your denomination, held your section, and kept your clothing legally plain regardless of what your cloaks were worth. It could be a genuinely comfortable life, counted out in beans and cotton instead of coin. But you were never going to own the system underneath you. That was never for sale. The counting was. When the empire finally lost the strength to defend that counting, nobody bothered learning the currency at all. They just took the storehouses.